Okay, so let's start. What we're gonna do is we're gonna just go through any initial questions you have, and they're discovery questions, to be honest. Discovery questions can't be wrong questions. They're just questions of curiosity about real estate in general. So you mentioned you want to invest or you want to learn about investing, right? And avenues that are available in real estate for you to invest in. So I'll give you a question to start things off, and then you can have follow-up questions from that. Um, which is like, what's your current perspective of whatever you've learned so far about real estate investing? Like, what do you know anything about it? And if so, what is that from your understanding? What does it look like? Do you feel like it's a simple thing, complex thing, easy?
I think I have a very elementary level understanding of real estate investing. Um, I can say like my brothers, my friends, they all have like investment properties. I think I have a very like basic overview in terms of, okay, you know what, I need X amount to go ahead and start looking into a investment property. And then, once you get that going, you want to go ahead and put that on rent, and hopefully that your rent, you're actually getting something that's, more than your total expenses. Um,
Right.
I get the overall big concepts, but the small details,
Yeah.
honestly, I don't think I would even know where to start.
Okay, so like what you explained is one type of investing, right? I'll go through the different general options people go into. So
Mhm.
like what you just explained is called like renting and holding, right? You purchase a property,
Yeah.
you rent it out and you just hold the property. And the objective is actually not the money you're making from the rent. Okay, a lot of people misunderstand this. So in their head, they're like, well, if I'm renting it out and my expense, if my mortgage is $1,000,
Right.
my rent should be like 1,500. Then
Right.
I
I'm
make
making like
five.
$500 profit, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's how everyone thinks. Like I should be making like $500 at least because I'm putting in $50,000. So like you're gonna take 50K from me and I can't even get $500 a month. Even if I get $500 a month over the entire year, that's only $6,000. So I put in $50,000, and the least that I can do is ask for 6K back.
Right.
All right. You won't even get that. That's that's the reality. Okay, so I want to kind of explain the objective behind it. So investment strategies exist, and you have different objectives to attain with those strategies. All right, you're a Call of Duty player, right? I was giving this example to Fahim earlier,
Yeah.
right? So like a sniper has a different approach than someone who's running and gunning with an AK-47. They're not gonna have the same approach.
Right.
So if you want to think about it, renting and holding is like a sniper in Call of Duty. Very
Right.
safe, very secure. It kind of helps you win the game. But someone who wants to run and gun, they
Yeah.
have to flip houses.
Probably a bad analogy dressed like that,
It's
but I'll take it.
no, because you know what happens, right?
Yeah.
You're not like it's just to explain being safe versus being
Yeah.
like volatile, right?
Yeah.
Because when you're doing flips, there's a higher risk. The reward is higher too. People do 6 month flip projects and they'll
Mhm.
bring in like 20, 30K profit. That's pretty good,
Yeah.
right? But the level of involvement required behind that project, that's a lot of work. Versus holding and renting it out is a much safer approach, but then your return is like, frankly speaking, in today's market in Michigan, it's like a few $100, $100 to two hundred
Mm.
bucks. Especially if you have a property manager, you have to pay him. That's like $100 right there every month, unless you manage it yourself, right? So generally speaking, like for someone who's a first time investor, it's just good to become familiar with these two avenues. Do I want to flip or do I want to rent? And then obviously sometimes people take the money and what they do is they let's say they take 50K, they get a property, and then they add value to that property, then they refinance and they take the cash out, right? Cash out refinance,
Yeah.
and then use that money to buy the next house. So they're using the money from that house to buy their next house.
Mm-hmm.
And then they try to keep doing that to add their portfolio to kind of let the money work for itself. The caveat is that when you take out that, when you're trying to like refinance or what have you, or even if you buy a house cash and you refinance, it has to make sense with your rent. If you're, if, because when you refinance, you're in a loan again, whether it's with UIF or guidance. And if that amount is, let's say, 1,000 and your rent is 900, you're at a negative right
Oh,
now.
yeah, you're at a loss.
You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying? So that's why you have to be very careful about that. But let's go with a very simple approach, which is what you said. I was just giving an overview of the two
Mm.
approaches you can go into. But a simple approach, first time investor, before you get your hands dirty, unless you're someone who knows your way around a house and you know how to work with contractors, easy ways to pick a house that's within your budget where
Hmm.
you won't go negative. So if I had to ask you, again, I know you're not familiar with it, but just from what you do know, if you had to invest somewhere to buy a property to rent, what area would you think of doing that in? And how
So,
much do you think would that house cost, for example?
um, so I I remember one time my brother was talking about certain areas are considered like category A, B, C. Like, um, I think like say Detroit or whatever, like you're thinking about category D, and then certain areas. I don't know where. I don't know if I'm hitting something, but like I think depending on the areas where people live and kind of how affluent those areas are, they're categorized differently. So
Okay.
I would go with somewhere right in the middle.
Well,
Um,
putting categories aside, like for
yeah.
someone who's watching this video, right? For them
Mhm.
to understand, if you had to say, here's a city and here's a location, here's a price point, what would that look like in your head? And then I'll give you my feedback on it as well, so you can understand a little bit better.
So I would say Sterling Heights, Warren area.
Yeah.
Sterling Heights more so because it's there's a lot of new things opening up, new cafes, restaurants, and it seems like a lot of people are moving into this area.
Okay.
But also I think it might be like manageable to find something within a decent price point in that area. Or if not, go more towards Warren. That's what I would think about.
Okay. So like for renting it out, right?
Right, renting it out, yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things you have to consider is, yeah, the desirability of that city, 100%. Like Sterling Heights, very desirable.
Right.
Okay. That's if we're thinking about us wanting to buy a house there and live there.
Hmm.
And that's for people with a certain income who can afford to live there.
Right.
Tenants are tenants because they cannot afford to buy a house or they do not qualify to buy a house. Either they don't qualify because their credit score is really bad, but they
Hmm.
have a bunch of money, but the loan isn't going to get approved because their credit score is bad. Or they have a great credit score, but they could never save up enough money to get approved. So people like that are on a very tight budget.
Mm.
So what happens is Sterling Heights, for example, houses are like 350K, right?
Yeah.
Let's even say 300K. Your mortgage ends up easily being like 3,000.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to rent that out, what's the rent going to be? Like you got to go north of
Yeah,
3,000,
exactly.
right? So for a tenant, he's like, I can live at 16 miles in Sterling Heights and pay 3,000 for my rent, or I can go 3 miles south, go to Warren and
Yeah.
pay 2,400, 2,200 for my rent. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you're going to be a landlord, you have to think from the perspective of a tenant. You see what I'm saying? You know what, see what I mean? So
Yeah.
it has to be a sweet spot. Because then there are also other areas where, oh my God, the return is so great, like in Detroit, right? Like
Hmm.
your mortgage is $900. You're like, oh, awesome. Mortgage is $900 because it's like a 80K house. Cool. And you can rent it out for how much? Oh, well, probably 14, 1,500. But nobody over there wants to pay 1,500 for a house either.
Yeah.
Or you might get clients that are harder to work with that don't pay, or different issues happen in different areas based on that. So you kind of have to be like Goldilocks, and you got to find like that sweet spot where, because you want reliable tenants, you want people who have jobs that's giving them steady income,
Right.
but at the same time they can't be too high. But at the same time, people with steady incomes are usually able to afford a house. So it has to be those people who
Yeah.
have steady income who cannot afford a house. You understand?
Yeah. So where do you
Yeah,
go about finding, like, where do you even start the search?
yeah,
I
yeah.
know like
But
all of us have a general idea, but like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. But
how do
now
you
you
narrow
see
that
what's
down?
gonna, yeah, this affects your location.
Mm-hmm.
So now what you do is you look at areas that are known to be tenant heavy areas.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you a clear example. In Warren, around 9 Mile Road is a tenant heavy area. And the prices of the homes are reflected as such. So if you go on Warren 9 Mile area, you'll see houses around 175, around 200K. You see
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Some people buy that with cash. I have clients who can purchase that with cash, and for them it makes sense. And
Mm-hmm.
with cash, the return is always better because you're not worrying, you're not going against a mortgage, you're not paying
Right,
on
right,
that.
right.
So places like that, places like east of Warren, so
Mm-hmm.
city called East Point, it's southern east of Warren. You
Mm-hmm.
have Roseville east of Warren. You have Madison Heights, lower the southern end of Madison Heights. These pockets within the cities
Mm-hmm.
are where you will find more tenants and you will find more affordable houses where your sweet spot is there.
Gotcha.
And if you go into cities like Troy and Sterling Heights, you can get it. Don't get me wrong. You can, like, I know someone right now who is living in Rochester Hills area and
Mm-hmm.
they pay like $3,000 for their rent. So there are always people that are doing that. It's just about if I have 200K, should I get one house or should I get two houses?
That's a good question. Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Should I get one house in Troy, or I have 200K? Let me put maybe 25% down towards two houses in Warren, and now
Mm-hmm.
my portfolio grows. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's kind of how you start. And with this approach, the objective, remember how I told you different objectives? The flip objective. Flip objective is to make cash and take
Right.
that cash and put into more projects. The rental objective is to develop equity. And the idea is you slowly want to go to, let's say you start with one house, and then then you have two homes, and then over a span of 10 years, you have 10 plus homes.
Mm-hmm.
Those 10 plus homes, after 10 years, a lot of the mortgage has been paid off. And you're going to end up selling some of them. You're going to make profit on some of them. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to come to a point where you have enough homes that takes care of a certain bill that you have in your life. You assign your passive income to that bill.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's your financing your car. Maybe your car financing is $600 a month. And you're like, well, I have six houses bringing me, 600 bucks, more than $600 a month.
Right.
I don't have to worry about that expense anymore. So what is the house being used for? The house is equity appreciating, appreciating, appreciating over and over again. For many people, those homes become their retirement plans.
Mm-hmm.
Because when they retire, and let's say you have three kids, I've seen a lot of people do this. They assign each house to a kid. So like instead of putting money, cash in a savings account that depreciates over 18 years, I assign a house to my son or daughter, and when
Mm-hmm.
they turn 18, they can go to college by selling this house if they need to. Let's say
Right.
for their tuition, or they can get married, or they can get their own house by selling this house, whatever. So what you're doing is you're going to be appreciating with time. First is I keep 200K in a bank for my son for his tuition, and every year that dollar depreciates with inflation. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you have to set the objective first. What's my objective when I want to invest? Do I need money or do I need equity? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Do you have any follow-up questions based on that or
Um, yeah, so in terms of area, you mentioned a couple of different areas, right? I mean, besides your own experience, how
yeah.
did you go about, okay, figuring out, let me start looking in this area versus another area? Is there
Yeah,
like
so
a website, something you guys use?
no. There's no specific thing like that. It's more so using intuition, having intuition towards it, and I'll explain what I mean by that. You can take a few steps that are guided, but the rest is intuition. So if I go to Zillow and I say buy in Zillow,
Mm-hmm.
and if I go to Zillow and I say rent in Zillow, you'll see the pockets very clearly because you're
I
going to
see.
see a bunch of rental homes in that area,
Okay.
which tells you most likely a bunch of tenants live here. The second thing is the quality of home.
Mm.
When someone buys a house to live in, those houses have a certain finishing touch to it
Right.
versus homes that investors buy. So we are so late in the game. Investors have paved the way for us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just really looking online to seeing, oh, these are pretty much investment homes. You can tell by looking at it. Oh, this guy flipped this. He flipped it for someone like you to buy it and rent it out. So
Mm.
you know this place is gonna be like that.
Okay.
Versus there's houses in Sterling Heights are not meant to be rented out. You know that because you
Yeah.
go there, you're like, oh, this guy has a pool in the backyard and doesn't again, I don't want to say that there aren't rental units in Sterling Heights. There are there. But the
Mm-hmm.
question is, if I'm if I'm working towards a 350K loan, would it
Mm-hmm.
be better for me to work towards two loans at 175K? It's better to go with two loans at 175K.
Mm.
And the ideal case is purchasing a multi-unit. Like
Yeah. Multi.
mathematically, there's no discussion. A multi-unit will always win. If you
Mm.
have two tenants and one leaves, you have at least one to cover something,
Right.
and that's why multi-units are so competitive. And we did a lot of people didn't like from our culture, from our background, didn't pay attention to it as we were buying homes because we were buying homes for ourselves, not
Right.
for investments.
Right.
But then there were a lot of multi-units available at that time. Right now, the only city that has a lot of multi-units is Hamtramck. And Dearborn is actually initiating this thing where they don't want multi-units. So like they're trying to like take that away. So that's
Mm.
like a whole thing because it makes it harder for you to
Yeah.
live, right? Multi-units are a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing for someone who has a lower budget and things like that. But that's another thing. The
Okay.
other thing I would say is that for
Yeah.
an investor, you have to figure out how much capital you have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was going to be my next question.
Yeah, go ahead. What is it? Well,
Um, how much capital should I have before I want to even start thinking about investing?
yeah. So I was just talking to an investor from New York about this.
Yeah.
And it depends on what kind of an investor you are and
Hmm.
how confident you are. I've seen investors that want very low risk. I've seen investors that are okay with the highest level of risk and it's like moderate risk. Okay, highest level of risk is flip projects because the contractors can mess up, things can go wrong. Okay, low risk is like your Warren houses, suburban areas. You know how they are,
Hmm.
low expectations or low concerns. Moderate risks are like houses in Detroit. You kind of have to scout a little bit,
Hmm.
and but you will find really good neighborhoods in Detroit. There are really nice pockets where you can get them, like I said, houses for 80K, and it's a good home, and it's tenant suitable.
Hmm.
You may not want to live there, that's your preference, but tenants would love a home like that, and that works really well for them. So you
Hmm.
got to think like that, right? So you have a few options. Let's say you want to go with the moderate approach and it's an 80K. You finance that with 20% down, 16K down payment plus closing costs, you're at 20 to 22K, you get the house. Under $22,000, I've helped someone purchase a house. Um, this sister for like 65K, she closed the whole deal with 18K. That's it
Everything,
in
everything.
Detroit.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow. Yeah.
yeah. And her monthly mortgage was I think like 800 bucks, and her rent is over $1,000. So you can do something like that, but you have to go seek and find those houses and those neighborhoods where you can ensure that I know it's a safer neighborhood. People
Yeah.
will want to actually live here. That requires some work. Okay,
Okay.
that's one way where you can do it under 20K. You have to get a little bit involved with the agent, with myself, for example. Then you have the low risk, which is like the house I was just showing Fahim on Hudson on Warren. It's at 8.5 mile road east
Hmm.
of Mound. So if you go straight left, you have Masjid Muhammad Affan.
Okay.
All the it's a renovated home. They're flipping it, obviously. It's good condition. It's 155K. So 20% of that, you're within that 50K. So you can close everything up with 55K. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So whether it's 20K or 60K, right? If
Mhm.
you finance it, you can do that. Some people will say 60K, well, I can put 10K together. I can get that Detroit house for cash. And
Yeah, yeah, that's also true. Yeah.
yeah, well, I'm helping someone do that right now. We're closing a deal this week for a house we are getting in Detroit for I think like 40K cash. Yeah. So you see, there's options.
Is that even livable?
No,
Uh,
it is livable to a certain extent, but he's gonna touch it up.
I see.
So
Okay.
he's okay with that risk. So he's
Mm,
gonna get it for 40K. He did his due diligence with the inspector to make sure that hey, the foundation is good. I can live with this, and the
mm,
rest is cosmetic, where he's gonna maybe put in 20 25K,
mm.
and then that'll be at 65K,
Yeah.
right? His total capital investment.
Mm.
He can sell that for 80 90K.
Gotcha.
That's the return. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so you have options, right? Like you can be at a 20K with financing, you can be at a 40K with financing or cash, you can be at 60K. It really comes down to your risk tolerance. That's
Okay.
what I tell people.
That makes
What
sense.
is like I was helping this one physician like a few years ago, and he's much older, mashallah, and he's very busy. He runs a clinic, he's busy the whole day.
Mm.
I was like, Sheikh, I don't think you should do anything where it requires you to remove your finger. So
Yeah.
like the house you should get should be like ready to go
Yeah.
and you're just buying it for the sake of equity and that's it. Because he doesn't need money in his life.
Mm.
Alhamdulillah, he's fine. He's like
Yeah.
in his late 40s, whatever, 50s. It's just more like what do I do? I want to do something positive with this money that'll have something. So I'm like, for you, just get a house and just let it appreciate without getting too involved because that'll be too much for him.
Mm.
So it really comes down to you. Where if you're like, no, I'm ready. I want to move a few things around. I'll stay involved with you. You guide me, and we're gonna do 2 3 deals a year, and we're gonna keep building a portfolio until I get to 30. Like
Yeah.
I know someone with 30 houses that are paid off, right?
Wow. Yeah.
So like
So,
that. Well, think about it. That's if
yeah.
each house is now giving him $1,000 rent,
Hmm.
and all 30 are paid off, right?
Yeah.
That's his passive income stream.
So I think myself and most of my like physician colleagues, right? Everybody wants something comfortable, right?
Yeah,
Not to have to lift a finger. They're like, sure,
yeah,
okay, we might do a little bit of the groundwork and like
yeah,
get
yeah.
involved, but that's about it, right? We want to have something where we can go ahead, make the initial investment and not even think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, so to do that is you need two people or two point of contacts, right? And sometimes those 2 point of contacts become one. You need a realtor who's going to be involved with you throughout the process. Like that's your first point of contact.
Mhm.
Not a realtor to just purchase the property. No, like a realtor that will consult all the way through and give you numbers and breakdown. And two, you need a property manager. And they
Mm,
usually charge anywhere from 8% to 12% of the rent. So some realtors are property managers themselves. They're both, right? And
very
they're incentivized to do that because then they'll get you a house that they can manage properly, right? And
mhm.
some are just realtors, and some people are just property managers. And you filter them out the same way, you interview them the same way, you ask them, hey, can you teach me and see like this is like for everybody. Like if you're gonna hire a realtor, ask them questions to see how they actually guide you and see if at the end of the conversation you feel like you actually understand what you're about to do and you feel empowered, or if you're still at square one. If you're still at square one, you shouldn't go with that realtor. It doesn't make sense. Same thing with the property manager. Like you ask them questions like, what are you gonna do when there's a leak and it's 1 a.m.?
Oh, right, yeah.
They should have an answer for that. If they're
Yeah,
a property
yeah,
manager,
that's their job. Yeah.
there should be an answer for that, right? Hey, it's 1 a.m. It's December 13th, snowing outside. There's a pipe that's burst because the temperature. How are you gonna manage that? Fair question.
Mm.
And they should give you a response that makes sense, that has a protocol behind it. If
Gotcha. So
they say I'll be there 24/7, they're lying. No one's.
yeah. So you do recommend that for people like especially for physicians, right? Get a property manager if you don't want to deal with the headache.
Yeah, well, here's what I say. For
Yeah.
your first house, don't get a property manager
Mm.
because it's only one house.
Yeah, you should be able to manage it yourself, right?
It's not even that.
Mm.
If you don't manage it, you won't know if your manager is doing a good job or not when you hire him.
Makes sense.
Does
Yeah.
that make
Yeah,
sense?
makes sense.
Because
No.
this guy is managing your houses. He's managing your portfolios, right? So when you just manage one house, it's like a trial. And you can see like, oh, this month the tenant didn't pay me on time. I wonder what I should do. And you ask your family, you ask your friends, you ask me, we give you advice, we work on it together. But it's very like less headache, right?
Mm.
Very simple. Then when you actually deal with the property manager, you will be able to recognize, is this guy failing or not?
Mm.
It's not like a car, like they're gonna brand new car, everything works fine. No,
Right.
people suck at their jobs. And people will forget about your property. I've heard nightmares about property managers, just like real estate agents,
Yeah.
right? Like in every field, you have bad apples. So you have to know what to ask before you hire them. They are managing hundreds of thousands of dollars of your equity.
Okay.
That's a big thing. They're getting $100,
Mhm.
but it's your 200K investment. So it's better for you to be more in tune with it, right? So even if you're a physician, if you're busy, whatever it is, if it's just one property, you should get involved just to understand it.
Yeah, it's a learning process, right? Makes sense.
Yeah,
So-
after 1 year, you can
Yeah.
hire a property manager. It's not a problem. But that's just the personal recommendation.
All right. So, all right, let's say you have the 50K,
Yeah.
right? You have a
Okay.
general idea of like Warren, 9 Mile, kind of that area. You were looking for something with moderate risk. Where
Okay.
where do I start from
Yeah.
that?
So the first thing you start with is like a consultation, like how we're doing right now, right?
Okay.
The second thing is understanding your timeline, like how soon is
Mm.
that money? Is the money ready right now, or is it gonna be ready? And if it is ready, are you ready to sign right now? Okay, so timeline is important. So someone's like, you know what, I'm ready in 2 months. Okay, I'm ready right now. If you're ready right now,
Mm.
then after the consultation, what I will do is I'll give you examples of houses that meet the criteria for investments within that 50K budget.
Okay. All right.
But we have to decide, are we going to buy a house cash 50K in Detroit, or are we
Mm.
going to buy a house and finance it with a 50K down payment?
Okay.
And when I say we, I mean you,
Right.
because
Yeah.
I'm going to explain to you your options, the risk you have to take. And then I'll tell you, okay, now that we've chosen this path A, you
Mhm.
want to finance in Warren, let's get you approved, make sure you actually qualify, and
Mhm.
then we're going to go check out these houses. And the first day, we just check out houses just to understand what houses even look like. Because maybe you haven't even seen an investment house before, right? You get a feel of it. Then within 30 days, you usually find something.
Okay.
If you're reasonable about it, within 30 days, you'll find something. If your objective is, no, I need to make my $500 profit, I will just direct you to another agent because no one can guarantee you that. No one.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, you can't. It's a lie. If someone says that to you, they're lying to you. Unless they found a really good deal in Detroit
Mhm.
or they're talking about a multi-unit. You can get that in a multi-unit,
Mm.
right? 250, 250.
Yeah.
That can definitely work. The other thing I would say to be mindful of is just understanding rates. Like people don't understand rates properly. So if you're let's say because you're a physician, right? When you have physicians, you can choose between a 15-year mortgage and a 30-year mortgage. It might make sense to take the 15-year mortgage because you want to just get through the payment so you can take
Right.
more money and keep
Mhm.
moving forward, you know?
Mhm.
Um, or it might make sense with a 30-year mortgage because you want to keep more capital up front to buy more houses. It really comes down to what you want to do, but you have to have a goal. If you just buy a house for the sake of because you heard you're supposed to
Yeah.
invest, you're just like walking around with no purpose. You're just doing it. Like, okay, I heard everyone's doing it, so I'm gonna do it.
Mhm.
That's horrible. You don't
Yeah.
even know if you're losing money or not, right? And the other thing is that the biggest thing. The meeting will end in about 7 minutes, but I want to talk about the biggest thing. People think the money is the biggest thing. I'm like, no, money is a prerequisite. Okay.
Mm.
People think location is the biggest thing. I'm like, no, the location is obvious. because I just told you how to pinpoint that.
Yeah.
So if money is not the problem, location is not the problem, what makes landlords struggle with investment properties? What do you think?
Tenant.
Tenants. Tenants. Okay? It's tenants. So investors will spend the most time with their realtors
Mm-hmm.
saying, oh, what's the commission? What's this? What's that? Where am I getting? All the questions, they'll drain all the energy on that.
Mm.
On a house that would have been just fine if they picked any of that house from that entire area.
Mm.
And then the realtor finishes his job, he steps aside, and the investor's like, I'm gonna go on Facebook Marketplace, I'm gonna go on Zillow and put my house for rent, and then I'll get a property manager later.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of people come and they pick somebody, and some tenant comes in, and then he's like, he's not paying me my rent, or now he's a squatter, or he destroyed the house. I shouldn't have invested. It was a bad house.
Yeah.
The whole experience translates to it was a bad purchase. It wasn't a bad purchase. You just mismanaged.
Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of people have regrets about buying their investment property. Your purchase was perfectly fine. You just
Yeah.
mismanaged what you did with the product when you got it. You're supposed to interview your tenants the way someone interviews you for a job.
Mm.
And I charge people to do that for them. Like, because, and not just me, other agents do it too. Because that way you know that they're going through a filtered process of ensuring you're getting high quality tenants. When you have a high quality tenant, that's a proper investment. I know landlords who charge less rent because their tenant is high quality. They always pay on time. If anything breaks in the house, they fix it themselves. Like, they don't even bother them. So the landlord's like, bro, I'd rather take $200 less from them,
Yeah.
let them live there. I'm happy, and my equity is there. It's appreciating. Everything is good. That's a smarter investor. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better to do that. Give someone $1,000 properly and make them do that process where you can save thousands of dollars
Later on. Yeah.
in the long run. Or you can even do it yourself. And I mentioned this film, like, have open houses, interview them, go through each of their backgrounds. You can use Rent Spree. Rent Spree. It's a website, and it'll do background checks for you. For people who can't afford to hire the agent, do that. But at least do your due diligence, because the tenant is a deal breaker or a deal maker for your investment.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. So that's basically the things you have to consider. That 50K. Then obviously when you're running it, you want to talk to your loan officer.
Mm.
So, and understand really what is the amount that's due. So loan officers have this habit. Whenever you ask them, what's the mortgage, right?
Mm.
They're very technical, and they're also specific. So you say, what's the mortgage on this house I'm going to get? Like, hey, the mortgage is $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like, okay, cool, $1,000. He heard the word mortgage. And in your head, as a landlord, as a consumer, as an investor,
Mm.
the word mortgage means your monthly bill,
Yeah.
which includes your taxes and insurance, which he did not include.
Mm.
With the mortgage, it's not 1,000, it's 1,300 with the insurance and taxes.
Right.
But as a loan officer, his first go-to response will always be the pure mortgage, because he wants to show you the mortgage is low. We're not
Right.
charging you a lot. It's your property taxes.
Right.
But he's not actually helping you by doing that, because when you say mortgage, you mean mortgage,
Everything.
insurance, and tax, everything. Give me everything. So this happened today. You realize, because it's not their fault, because that's the language they live. That's their world of language, right? They look at it differently. This is what mortgage means. This is what taxes is. This is what insurance is. But people like you and me, we just use everything under one word,
Mm.
mortgage. So the better thing is to say, how much am I going to pay all together?
Yeah.
All together, because it's going to go up based on your taxes. And something else I'll mention for people who invest is your rate will be higher for investment properties than it would be if you were to buy it to live in it.
Right. Yeah. If it's your first.
Significantly higher. Like, if I'm buying a house to live in it, my rate might be 6.2. If I'm investing, it might be 7.1.
Oh, it's a significant
Yeah,
difference. Yeah.
significant difference. Second thing, your house taxes will be significantly higher. So if I'm living in a house, it'll be like 4,000 a year. If I'm investing, it might be 7,000 a year. Yeah. If you live in it, it's called homestead taxes. If you invest it, it's called non-homestead taxes. So those things, all those things matter in your numbers. So people like like new investors, for example, who might not know everything yet, they see a house on Zillow and the taxes say 4,000. But that's because the people living there are living there. They're not
Yeah.
tenants. They own that. When you buy it, as soon as you buy it, the taxes go up, and then it doubles down because it's an investment. So that 4,000 is going to become like 7,500. And in their math, they're calculating $4,000 for my taxes. It's not.
No, no, yeah.
It's like 7,500 divided by 12. So those are the things that I would tell you to look out for. Keep those things in your mind, in your calculation. And if you can get plus $100 a month, say Bismillah and move forward because you're trying to grow equity.
All right, welcome.
Yeah. So if you have any questions, let me know. Hopefully this was helpful for the viewers. Inshallah. Do you have anything else before we conclude?
No, I think that
You
was
feel
good. That
like
was a
you
good.
learned something?
Yeah,
Was it
I
helpful?
did. Yeah. So, I mean, overall, it sounds like, at first, before a lot of us, right? We, and again, I'm speaking about a lot of my physician colleagues, right? We have a lump sum of money, and now we're like, okay, what do I do with it?
Yeah.
Especially when you go from residency to becoming an attending, your salary jumps.
Yeah, yeah.
So now you're like, oh man, I have all this money. What do I do with it?
Consult, consult,
Yeah.
consult.
So the biggest thing that I'm gonna take away is like, before you jump into anything, first go ahead and sit down with someone that's actually in the game and learn more
Yeah.
about it.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, this was helpful. Thank you.
Jazakallah khair. Okay. Assalamu alaikum.